Hello, collective. It's Kai. So, today's question that I'm actually bringing forth is what makes you stand so strongly behind variable X? Like, I was really kind of just ruminating on that conviction that I had as a teenager, more so. And it's a really interesting thing because the inner child is something that I can tap into. It's something that I can refer to and learn from a lot because truly that is the purest state that I myself perceive it to be. Yes, it is kind of like this also naivety and innocence, and being a child, it's like you soak up the information around you, the way that you perceive the world and how you also move forward with that information. The thing about the inner adolescent, so I'm talking about a spiritual practice where you tap into your inner child, you work with your inner child, you do things in alignment with your inner child to awaken that essence of yourself. And I was thinking, like, okay, the inner adolescent that I refer to is allowing me to realize there were many decisions that I had made in the past where I pretty much just how do I describe this? Well, in the end, hurt people, right? And so it was one of those kind of, I guess you could say, situations. Sorry guys, I just showered, so I need a Q-tip my ears. But that innocence, as much as like pain that came from it, and how me making choices to willingly and to willingly hurt people, right? So those are things where I'm like, okay, there's definitely things that I could address within that, right? And with that, I have a doggy bag. Anyways, so irrelevant. I realized that there are choices that I made in the past that definitely where I had actually enacted in a way where I was trying to inflict pain, okay? And I know that I could give myself grace as much as like understand, like, yes, we're human, we make mistakes, things like that. My thing about this is during that period of my life, I just have this recollection of memories where I was so firm and like would be like, no, I'm not going to do what you're asking me for because I'm going to prioritize my fun, my play, me enjoying my life, right? That was really the main prerogative, was me to enjoy my life, to be stress-free, to have fun with my friends and like play around, I guess. And it's interesting because now that I'm working on this project that I was mentioning to you guys, I had to recognize that there was a certain part of me that didn't want to, like, as time went by and I've gotten to this point in my life where I realized like I never really wanted to stand so firmly behind something because of the fact that it was quote unquote wrong. And that's why it's interesting, because when it comes to creatively expressing something or creating something, it's this almost part of me of being an artist and being a creator, a fellow creator, and a creative as well, a poet, and how I wish to almost relay a message. And so I'm really looking forward to just kind of like intentionalizing that. And I wanted to talk about it because I realized, like, yes, I could write it all down, but there's so many ideas running through my mind. And I just wanted to like give that question out to you guys as well. Like, what makes you stand so strongly behind something? Like, whether it's your work or your way of living or like standing behind like your passions, whatever brings you joy. Like it could be anything. And like with no judgment whatsoever. And so I just kind of want to open that up. If you feel inclined to, I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Simply because it's like everyone has different like opinions and perspectives on, like, for example, even tarot, you know? Like there's a lot of people who hold negative perspectives on tarot, as much as like people who just simply also are very much just closed off to it. And that, with no offense, it's just simply that it doesn't make sense to them. It's not something that they want to connect with, and that is so valid. And that's why, like, even if like I myself am someone who listens to like astrological observations and stuff, like if someone doesn't believe it, if someone doesn't like align with it, thinks of it as like useless information, then so be it, right? And so that's why it's like it's an interesting thing, because I'm like, what do I truly stand strongly behind? Of course, it always comes back to love. And so I kind of wanted to open that up. I do plan on hopefully talking about it more as I am putting things into action versus just thoughts, words, planning, things like that. And so, or not just ideas, actual, like, yeah, action, pretty much. So, yeah, that's just what's been going on. My friend, our family friend from Korea, left today, and I started my period today, and I was just super tired. But I love it when you shower and it just feels so good. I actually wanted to mention something. Someone mentioned in the comment section that made me kind of like want to hopefully provide some encouragement and support, because I really do know what it feels like. Thank you, by the way, for your comment. I forgot your username, but I'm sure you'll know who you are once I mention what this said. And it was about having friends. And I'm just speaking from my own experience. I'm not saying that this is the case for you. I learned that I myself was putting this being, this beautiful being, this personality with their quirks, like I put myself in a situation where I was very vulnerable with people who I didn't feel honestly that's safe around. And that's a really uncomfortable thing to say, simply because I knew that these people didn't mean any harm. And so when I read your comment, I really was like, damn, I do feel that. I feel that, where it's like you really want to have genuine friendships and vulnerability and to feel safe and to express however much love you have within you. What I really learned from this experience of being friends with all these wonderful people and then realizing how my differences with them was truly me making myself super unhealthy by being around them. And I had to learn the hard way. I needed these people to say no to me because I was constantly saying yes to them. And so I really just took the time to give myself that love, that ever flowing abundant love that I have within me, as much as like grieve the whole process. And like I got pretty depressed, honestly, because I really wanted to be friends with these people. And so what I learned was to give it to myself, and it just ended up becoming this thing where I was starting to actually recognize and acknowledge like the decisions that I was making for myself being reflected back to me in the ways that people were treating me. And I started to notice like the care and the softness and just like the appreciation and love that was so just it was in front of my face. and I didn't even notice it because I was not in a good place. And so I hope that this helps, because that was the only way that I could have survived, honestly, because I was not like treating myself very well by being around these people, by choosing to be around these people. And it is one of those moments where I'm like, damn, I just didn't know any better. And I came out of a really hard part of my life where I was healing from being very physically traumatized, and it had to do with dealing with like the emotional turmoil of death and stuff like that. So it's like knowing yourself, knowing your own progress and process and path, what you've journeyed through, and understanding like truly the only person that could have really acknowledged the growth that I've gone through is me. And I have had the pleasure to experience friends who have seen me go through those hard times and witness me. And they're like, I'm really proud of you for getting through what you've gone through and for being the beautiful being that you are. And I have people that say these things to me, and they're not always right next to me. Like, they're all kind of long distance friends. So it's kind of like my situations where I find strength in knowing that even though they're so far away, like, they support me, they cheer for me, and it doesn't have to be a physical thing. And I know that is a lot harder to say than to like actually experience, because sometimes the physicality can be so beautiful and enticing and just so abundant and full of everything, full of love, joy, peace, fun, everything. And so I wish you the best in that, because in the end we get to choose who we let into our lives, and that is a powerful choice, because that is how we create our environment, is by choosing all the things that we are surrounding ourselves in. And that is the same with how you treat yourself. And I saw your big three. So I think one of the biggest things, especially with having a Taurus rising, like, it is so important for you to just, and I mean this in like just me as like a spiritual practitioner and like as a tarot reader for people. So in other words, a spiritual teacher as well as a spiritual student. Being a Taurus rising and having that in your natal chart is going to allow you to really understand how luxurious and pleasurable your own presence is. And Taurans, like, they're, from some other people's perspectives, it can be a lot about taking things to slow and self-care. And that can come in whatever forms you enjoy it as. So, and that truly brings you peace. And yeah, so I just hope that possibly helped. I don't know. But yeah, so I am really grateful. I went out last weekend to watch Chris Lake at Hakkasan at the MGM Grand, and I went with two of my friends. One of them is also my sister, but I had so much fun. It was so nice. And yes, it's kind of silly to have all these randos come up to me and be like, are you from here? And then I'd be like, yeah, where are you from? And they're like, I'm from out of town. I'd be like, bruh, all of you are from out of town, huh? It's just really interesting to experience that. And it's cool, like, to meet people from different places and see like the way that they exhibit themselves to be quite different too. So it was an interesting interactive experience, as much as like I loved hearing Summertime Blues is like such a close song to my heart from 2024 summer. And I really was just like, the lights were so perfect too. It was yellow and blue. It was just so nice, and those colors just remind me so much of like royalty as much as like cheer, because of the Golden State Warriors. I'm from Alameda, which is right next to Oakland, so very was big. I'm not that into basketball, so don't come at me, but I just had so much fun. It was cold as fuck outside, but we ended up having a good time and spending time talking at the end of the night. And yeah, this person just appeared in front of me just randomly with a random invite. And that's how we met. And then now we kind of hang out and like it's really chill. And I've just been taking my time. So it's really been helpful to do so. Because now I'm like getting bored. And that's such a good sign. Because like it makes me realize like how like blessed I am. And then it's like this whole practice of like gratitude that I can now welcome into my space because I have space. Anyways, yeah, so I'm working on something and I'm making an effort to stand strong by it. So that's why I brought this question up to you guys. So yeah, I'd really appreciate any perspective experiences or whatever you interpreted from me saying stuff. But yeah, thanks for being here, you guys. I appreciate your presence. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being alive. And I'm sending you guys so much love and support on your own spiritual journey.